Okay, so now we're going to demonstrate to you an example of a employment history of somebody. And this is illustration of John Doe. This is where he worked. And you'll notice that the name of the company is indicated. And this is the screen that you are seeing now is basically what the Department of Labor official is looking at. When you do an application, they'll obviously check like what is available for you, and the first thing they look at is your employment history. And this is a kind of like an illustration that we have come up with that to anticipate as to what exactly do they look at, just to give you an idea when you go there what exactly is happening. So what we see there is a company called Dimension Data that this person was working for, and you will notice there at the back they said UIF reference number. That must be indicated to say that okay, John Doe worked at Dimension Data. And then we see there that the employment start date that was indicated by his company to the Department of Labor was the 15th of the 4th 2019. And then you see employment end date. What you see there basically is that there's no end date. What does that mean? It means that the person is still working, that person is still employed by that company, so there's no end date. So automatically when that person goes there, they will bring the UIF forms that will indicate an employment end date. And then we move on to the monthly salary. That is the amount that John Doe has earned was 8,000 rand a month. And what is the reason for termination? It is not clear. So which means the UI-19 form will indicate to the Department of Labor what reason is this guy not working there. So then we move on to the UI-19 form. Okay, so this is the UI-19 form is the most important and crucial document, and this is where the most of the delays take place. And this document must be filled in 100% correct. And if if the employer masters this document in terms of filling it correctly, then the Department of Labor shouldn't anticipate any hiccups or delays in the claim. So let's just go through this form step by step. Okay, so first of all, the UIF reference number must be in correlation with the previous screen you've seen, which was the employment history. And those two things must balance out. And then the name of the company is indicated there. It was Dimension Data. Yep, they go back, they check on the system, they say, oh, Dimension Data, okay, that is in line with each other. And then the pay as you earn number is indicated there, and then the name and the address of the employer details are there. And then we move on to the contact details of the company, yes, indicated. So which means if there's any problems, the official can phone up the company and say, look, this is required, supporting documents is needed, can you indicate to us whatever additional information that is needed. And then we move on to the authorized person. That is also the most important thing. The authorized person is basically the person at HR who fills in the documents. Not anybody has access to fill in these documents. Only selected one or two people are able to fill in these documents. And then the name of the person is there, and at the bottom the designated person who fills in, who is the authorized person, his signature is there, the name, ID number, signature is there, the date is indicated from there. And then also on the UI-19 you move on to the ID number. As I said, the ID number must be 100% correct. And then you must know that if there's one number missing or one digit short, then means the whole form is come into question, and then that's a red flag, and then obviously that will delay your claim even further. Then they move on to the amount of money you're earning. It must be in conjunction with what they have on their system. Total hours of work is indicated. And then we move on to the next block, which is the dates of employment. And this is also a very important part. You will probably see there that the employment start date was indicated at the Department of Labor, and that must be in line with what they have in the system. If that is not in line, the whole form comes into question yet again, and then yet another delays in the form. So let me just pause there for a while. Advice that I can give you as an employer is call the Department of Labor's offices and confirm at their offices the employment start date. So whatever date they have on the system, you put that date on there. Sometimes there could be differences in dates that can cause problems. We don't want problems. We want smooth sailing when the application is done. So when the applicant goes to the Department of Labor, they submitted documents. When they go back 28 days later, because that is the time that they get to assess your claim, and a turnaround time for them as well to be able to approve your claim, so that they give you a date to go back. So when you go back on the next date, you'll know for a fact that there won't be any problems. Your application will automatically just be approved because everything is smooth sailing and everything is filled in correct based on what you've learned here today. Okay, so the termination date is indicated on the UI-19 form, and that will they in turn put on their system. The reason for termination will be indicated. This person, they said the reason for termination is a code number 5. If you go to later in the document, I will show you all the codes that will be required. Code number 5 indicates the contract is expired, and indicate whether you contributed. It's always yes, it can never be no. So let's just pause there for a while. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to the reason for termination now. So there's 2 criteria that will make you not to qualify, and that will be code number 6 and code number 13. Those two codes are there. You must know for a fact that you will not get UIF. It means your application will be refused, because if you've learned anything from my previous videos with regards to UIF, terminate your own services, you don't qualify for UIF. If you want to know about UIF in general, you can go to Truths About UIF. It talks about the amendments that was introduced, and also there's another video relating to UIF that talks about the truths about UIF that nobody knows. You won't be able to find that in any website or on Google. That won't be there. It's just basically experience that I've gathered over the years in relation to UIF. Anyway, let's continue. So let's go to the reason for termination codes. The reason for termination codes are indicated there. And then the employer is going to indicate what reasons they have indicated to terminate your services. The stamp is available. You will see the stamp is applicable there. Sometimes companies have stamps, otherwise sometimes they don't have stamps. And let's move on to the next document. This is a work schedule document, so which means that some provinces in the country require work schedules, and some provinces don't require work schedule. But for the sake of being thorough, let's just deal with the work schedule form. Because employers, the Department of Labor will call them up and say, look, I will need a work schedule. A work schedule is basically a breakdown of the entire period that the person was working for the last 4 years. So which means if you work for this company for the 4 years, they want to see each and every salary that you earn every month, and then this form basically breaks down everything for you. We'll go down and analyze John Doe's work history. It appears to us here on this document that John Doe worked a full year for this company called Dimension Data. His employment start date was April 2019, and that whether his first month salary is indicated, his hours work, and indicate whether contributor. So basically is repetitive information basically this information will also find on the UI-19 form, but they want a breakdown for each and every month. So sometimes you will notice they want information as far back as 2015 up until 2020, and then the employer must fill in every month what they need. Sometimes this document is not required, but in most cases, to be thorough, have your employer fill this information in so that you can not have any problems. So a UI-19 always goes in conjunction with a work schedule. Those two documents are like a husband and wife, they're married. So one can't be submitted without the other. So when UI-19 is submitted, make sure the work schedule document is also filled in and signed as per the same as the UI-19. The bottom you will see that the stamp is also available, is indicated there, and the signature of the person who filled in the UI-19 must also be the same as the one that fills in the work schedule document, and also the signature will be indicated. So yeah, that's basically how the employer should be able to fill in. If your employer don't know, now you as an applicant, you know now. So you go to your HR. If they don't know from head to tail, you spearhead this and you indicate to them what they need to do in order for you not to have any hiccups. So yeah, that's it pretty much, guys. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to our channel.